Good morning and Happy New Year. This is the start of a new year of 2024, and I hope the new year brings everybody much happiness and much success in their endeavors. I'm Bob Pace, and I'm your host, uh, and I'm here to tell you a secret. And the secret is how to fight CPS and win. Now, CPS stands for Child Protection Services. It's a branch of the social services that helps out families with their children, and it serves to protect the children and do family reunification. Our attorney, Vincent W. Davis, has a law firm that deals with this. He is a professional lawyer, he's a trial lawyer, he's a family law lawyer. He has numerous years of experience, and he has worked with cases around the United States. So he's not just only in Southern California. The phone number to contact him is 888-888-6582. It's also, you can call there if you want to have a consultation with Vincent Davis, who go up to 30 minutes or 1 hour, and he will talk about the strategies. There is a uh, memo across the board at the bottom that talks about his calendar and when he's available and so forth. And so that being saying, all you listeners listening now, you can call in and um, uh, request to be a guest on the show. We'd love to hear from anybody out there that has something that they'd like to help on or something like that. And I'd like to hear from any of you out there. So call in at 888-888-6582. And we have a guest here. Her name is Ann Gonzalez. And she is a grandmother, she says. And she has a CPS case that she'd like to discuss with us. Go ahead, Ann, and welcome.
Good morning. Hi. So, this is about my granddaughter. About a year ago, um, well, my daughter used to stay with me, and my granddaughter was here too. And then my daughter took off, and she took the baby with her, and took the baby to her friends. And the friend's mom was watching her, and so the friend's mother and I were like finally decided, we're not sure what's going on with my daughter, so we kind of just like we were just helping her out. So she would have her sometimes, I'd have her sometimes. And the last time she came and picked her up from here, I said, okay, I'll get her in a few days. She's like, okay. So in that time she called the CPS and said that my daughter had abandoned her. She did the ex parte. So we went ahead and put in the objections, and CPS never came to see where the baby was living. And I was calling the workers and saying, no, the baby lives here. She wasn't abandoned. She was. We had an agreement with each other. And she just went ahead with. They just kept the baby. And I fought. I did some more objections. And when she had another case, we finally got her back, and we got her placed with my sister, who lives in the same town as she does. And after that, I guess my sister she's kind of older. She couldn't really take care of her. So the foster parents got her back, and my daughter had another baby. So now they want a permanent, I guess, have a hearing for a permanent placement for the baby. And I just want to see
Now,
what I can
she
do.
was the first baby. You mentioned she got another baby. What happened to the first baby in her case? Was there a marriage or a partner or a boyfriend, or she just had a
Just a
baby?
boy. Yeah, just
It's
a boyfriend. They're all, I don't know what's up with any of them really, but
You want nothing to do with her then, right? Or the baby?
well, she went to jail for a while, and she got out, and she's not really doing much to get her baby back. So I just thought I'd step in, and I'm not gonna. I don't want them to take the babies. I've never met
Yeah.
the little baby. I've never met the little baby, and she's about a year now. So, but my
Yeah, but
granddaughter that knows,
you said that she
pardon?
has foster parents. So why'd she go to jail?
She had some warrants. She's never hurt anybody, but I mean, she was doing some, just hanging around with the wrong crowd out there in Ventura and just
Was
doing
she like
drugs or
that
whatever.
growing up as a small child? Was she a good child?
No, no, she had the same friends. She lived over here and she had the same friends. And once,
Did it
one
start
time she
happening
was,
when she was a teenager?
well, she was about, no, my daughter was about 17. She was hanging out with guys were calling her that were like over 20. So um, I started putting my
Oh,
foot
child,
down.
yeah.
Yeah, she complained to my mother and she ended up just going to stay with my sister out in, in another city.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, so she met all these friends over there, I guess.
Did she have a? Are you married to her father, or
Her father is, no, I was never married to him, and yeah,
so
he's
you've been a
not really
single
much help.
parent raising her as best as you can, then, right? And without
Yes,
a man like a father who maybe tell her that those are the wrong kind of guys, it's remarkable world we live in, because so many of the problems that our young people get involved in is because somehow at home there is something at home that didn't really protect them or look after them, or things like that. So don't feel bad. I mean, I don't know your situation between you and um, your husband, I guess it was, or a partner, or whatever it was. But you remarkably have raised your daughter. Now she's 17. She goes and meets the wrong kind of guy. She has a baby, and now she has a new baby.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And so the babysitters actually wanted the baby, the first one, and they're the ones that said, "Oh, my daughter abandoned the baby," which she didn't. But
So
the
they're the
next
ones
part,
that they make the allegations. Then the babysitters.
right, right,
So they got a hold of
yeah.
CP. Yeah, CPS is mandated by law that anybody that calls, they have to investigate. That's the first step they have to do. And sad about it is that sometimes their intentions are good, but sometimes their intentions are not good, and they can get really complicated. Their goal, what state is this in?
This is California, Southern
Okay, it's
California.
Southern California. So I'm well familiar there. Well, it seems like the CPS is in LA County and Orange County. They're in there to make money, and it's $1 billion business. And so they're going to try to have them adopted and foster care because they get more money federal, more money state. And as long as they keep them in there, they hope they can keep them for at least they're 18. They get money. Foster care, I mean, CPS will get money up until the child is 18, even if they're placed with a foster care parent. Foster care people get money, and it's all a money making thing. And their intent is to have the best interest of the child protected. But you, as a grandmother, want to see your granddaughter. You want to help. You want to help your daughter. You love your daughter. Definitely there. So, with that first child, when the babysitter reported to her that she was abandoned, they turned over to foster care. Is that what happened?
Then she was the foster care mother. She's the
Oh,
foster
the
care mother.
babysitter was?
Yes, yes, that was
And
her whole
so
aim. That was her goal.
her goal was to find a child.
Right,
And
because she's done this to a few other people in the town, like but she wasn't able to get their kids, and she finally
well,
did
they get
this.
money. They get money. It's a money making thing. I mean, they don't have to worry about expenses for that child because the federal government, the state takes care of the child. And so maybe not in the fashion that some people have taken care of, but so she made this claim, and then she was able to take the first child in, right?
Right, and the crazy thing about it was that her husband was I guess he had sex with a girl that wasn't 18 yet, and I'm not sure how old he was at the time. They said he was young at the time, so
So,
that's a sex offender. So they placed the child
well,
with,
yeah,
and
it's definitely that is a no no. She's anybody under the age of 18. They don't even have to have sex if they're with an older man. Um, it is a no no. I mean, I'll get you into serious trouble. It's called statutory rape. They don't mean you have
right,
to physically penetrate the girl, but anytime a man over the age, for all you listeners out there, and any of you guys that are young, If you're 18 or older and you decide to date a 15-year-old or a 14-year-old or a 12 or 16, 17, it's statutory rape, and you could be prosecuted for that. There's been a lot of cases where, you know, young teenagers are gullible. They'll believe anything. And of course, an older man represents maturity, sometimes a job, sometimes security, and of course, the sex part is always it's a fun, it's a thrill thing, it's a high. It's like drugs or alcohol. It's that thrill thing, and something that you know we as parents try our best to educate our young people, but it's kind of hard for abstinence or and so we talk about all kinds of protective measures and
Yeah.
things like that. So anyway, it sounds like this particular child was successfully adopted uh,
No,
by the foster
well,
care.
no, they're not adopted. They're just in the system still. So there's an upcoming hearing for permanency for a permanent plan for
Oh,
the for the little baby, and then the next baby's case, I guess, will be coming shortly after.
so
But
is this
yeah,
plan? Have they had the hearing yet for the permanent? So
no,
the kids,
it's coming up in Feb. That's why I got a hold
why
of you
couldn't
guys to ask.
the young child? What the child's 1 years old? Why
Well, one
couldn't
of
the child?
my grandbaby is 2 now, and the other
Okay, why
baby
couldn't
was
the two
born
year old?
last year.
Can you raise the 2 year old? Would you like to
I
have that?
tried. Okay, I tried to get the first baby. And what happened was I have a DCFS kit myself, but that was in 2008. And then about a year before this all happened, my kids, they we were just like a few days away from getting paid, and we didn't have that much food. I guess we did have a lot of food, but nothing like that they wanted to cook. So they
Right.
told their teacher there was no food at home, and CP and DCFS came here and they looked in my fridge and they're like, "There's plenty of food here." I said, "I know. It's because we're not going out to Benihana's tonight. We're not going to go out and have fast food, so my kids think that there's no food here." So just anyways, because so they, was like unfounded. They didn't do anything to me. But since that happened, they were saying, well, she had a DCFS case and
She
we're not
has
going
a
to hold it.
record, and right away they label you as a bad parent or a
Right.
bad mother or something like that. And they
Right.
sometimes say, well, look at their parents. They lost control of their young teenager, and she's got herself pregnant. And
Yeah.
now she has this 2 year old. Um, are you represented by an attorney, a paid attorney, or you have a public defender?
No, I did the objections by myself. I just did the objections by myself.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I just learned everything I could about family law and DCFS, CPS. I just lived, slept, drank, ate it, and I'm still doing that.
Well, the
Well,
one
actually,
thing
after the first, what?
I was going to
Pardon
say,
me?
the one thing that people got to realize is like a doctor. If you feel sick or you got a wound that needs to be stitched, you have to see a doctor. A lot of people can do it themselves. A lot of people can try to get over a disease or do things there, but like a wound or illness, you need a lawyer to go through CPS. No matter how good you are and what you go through, you need a lawyer. And again, the lawyers, sometimes the public defenders are worthless. So um, I'm just telling you that's what the thing is, because without that, you're not going to win. You will not win with CPS.
Yeah. Well, that's why I got a hold of Davis, or you guys. So
Well, yeah, that was a smart thing to do with Vince Davis. Have you talked to him?
no, no, he called me a few
Okay.
times, but I kept missing his phone calls, and so it was
Yeah.
just hit and
Well,
miss.
you definitely after the show, and if you'll come back and talk again, that'd be great. But you definitely need to set up a strategy meeting with him. It's free, and he will sit
Absolutely.
there, hear you out for 30 minutes or an hour, and he will uh, give you strategies of what to do and not to do and everything like that. And one of the things is you do not talk to CPS people. You don't talk to anybody from social service without talking to your attorney first, because
Right.
there's things you can say. They will trick you. They're tricksters. They're liars. They're tricksters. Even the system. I don't know. Have you been to the detention hearing before? You see how the judge is?
Yeah, I've been through the whole thing. Like I said, when I got my own kids taken away, I got them back like in 7 months because it was
Yeah.
you know. But my daughter, like, I thought she was going to get out of jail and stay clean, and I don't see her doing anything. She keeps saying she's going to turn herself into a program or whatever, and I'm just, I'm not
No.
going to wait around for her to do anything, or the father.
Yeah. Yeah. Neither the father wants to be. It's a hard thing to do it alone. I really admire women that can sit there and raise a child without a man. I think it's important, and I wish men would owe up to it because it's responsibility. It takes two to have a baby, and um, it's real easy for a guy to sit there and say, "Oh, well, it's your problem. You're pregnant. You have to deal with it," and that's wrong. That's wrong. And we need to do more education with those young men or older men or whatever it is. And sometimes
Yeah,
they're only
and
interested. Go ahead.
can I just tell you something? Like, what bothers me, like CPS. So I found out that the little baby is going to counseling, but she's only one. I mean, she's only two. So how could she go to counseling?
She has
You know,
what
it's
again?
they put the little baby, they put the 2-year-old into counseling, but
Okay.
she's only 2 years old. So what kind of counseling can they do to her? And I hate, like, when they did take the kids to visit the mother, they had somebody pick up the kids and take them to go see the mother. So I was like, they don't even know the kids. I mean, that's weird.
Are you hearing me okay? I didn't have my headset plugged in. I was
Yeah, I can hear
wondering
you.
why I hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
just complaining about CPS. I was just
Well,
complaining about
right.
CPS. Yeah,
What did they
how
do?
they how
We'd like to hear about them. We'd like to hear what they did.
well, they have the baby in counseling.
At
She's only two
two?
years 2 years old. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
And they
So I
probably
thought,
have an attorney for the baby. They have a therapist for the baby. They have a social worker for the baby. And they
right.
probably have an advocate for the baby. They
Right.
have a
And then
four.
all of a sudden, they don't call the baby by her first name. They go by her middle name. And so when they ask, why don't you call her? Oh, she's always gone by her middle name, but she doesn't. So I
No,
just think that's
that's
weird.
part of their okay, that's their ploy. They want to drag this on. I mean, the goal number one for CPS, they have to feed their coffers, and in order to do so, they need money. So they try to use ploys to drag the case on. The cases usually last no more than a year, and in my case, it was 3 years. And I lost of my three children. My wife and I lost. We lost one of her child. We got the other two back. The other one was so brainwashed into thinking that she could divorce her parents and be a better life with her foster care. She's finding out that isn't the case. But
Mhm.
anyway, when a child reaches the age of 12, they can divorce their parents. It's the law. I mean, there's really nothing much you can do about it.
Oh, yeah. Anybody can come here and just get a sex change if they want.
Yeah, exactly.
California.
There's California is a very liberal state, a very
Right.
rich state, lots of money, lots of power, and they're
Right.
missing the whole point. We're here to protect our children, and we're here. It's good to have a watchdog, but they've gone overboard being a watchdog and protecting the children, and they have alternative motives. It isn't a straight agency. Our
And they
social.
called,
Go ahead.
sorry, they call these children wards, WARD, wards, right?
Right.
And
Words of the
ward
court.
is a security. It's a security. So they're engaging in commerce.
Yes, yes, it's a business. It's a money-making business. No question about that. Their goal
Right.
should be number one, should be how do we get this family together? Well, how you get anybody together is you have all parties discuss the problem. That's why you have a Congress we have. We have the Democrats, Republicans that sit there and they'll sit there and argue and talk for days and days and days, but everybody's together. It isn't like one person writing one email, one person writing another email. They're different parts of the country, and that's what they do. They try to break you apart by having, one attorney should be able to represent the children, and one attorney should be able to represent the parents. But they think the attorneys would not be fair. I mean, why they want to have more people? Well, they want more money, and they want to make it harder. It's very hard to convince 5 people or 6 people or 10 people about something in common, and it's a lot easier. I mean, it'd be a lot easier if it's like one or two people. And the judges are terrible. Was your judge a good judge?
No, I tried to challenge his jurisdiction the first day, and he just started yelling and screaming at me. And
Yeah,
when we got the minutes, yeah, nothing that he said was even on the minutes. Yeah,
no, and I hate to say it, and all of you listeners out there, we need to elect judges. Judges are not appointed; they're elected officials. And I know we're having the preliminaries come up in February, and then the regular elections will be next November. But all you listeners out there, you need to make sure we get a judge who's a family law attorney, a family law background, and who has worked with children, maybe a family man. The judges that I had, my judge was doing car accidents and collisions. He knew all about how to fix a fender, but he didn't know how to fix a family. And his attitude was, "You parents are wrong, and what you did is horrible." And everybody generalizes that everybody that's in his court is bad. And no matter
yeah,
what your background, education, or what you do, what you don't do, what parenting classes you take, everybody's bad. And they do not talk to parents in court,
right.
and you sit out in the hallway for hours and hours and hours waiting, and it's a standing room in the Orange County area. It's a standing room only, and it's shuttling people like it's a cattle a cattle feed where cattle are herded together and
Chattel,
set off
yeah,
for
chattel.
slaughter. Yeah, and set off for slaughter. And
Right,
that's
right.
exactly what parents have done. They're sitting there, and from all walks of life, all different languages, all different social things, and they're sitting there, and they're just ready to be, you know, sent off to slaughter and lose their
Do you know
children.
if they go? I'm sorry. Do you know if they go by the Black Saw dictionary? Because I was checking out that dictionary, and the whole thing is, it seems like it's meant for dead people.
I
All this
don't know what
mortemain. They talk about mortemains, and that's
I
like
don't
the dead
know. I
hand.
don't know. All I know is that the people in the courtroom are friends, meaning that if you have a public defender, he probably goes golfing with the judge. You have a
Yeah,
social worker, they go golfing, they have lunch together. It's all about friendship and pals. And
yeah,
the sad part about it is that they're not in there for the family, they're in for themselves. So they try the simple way. A public defender only has he has 20 cases or more, and he only has 5 minutes for
yeah.
each case. And so he's not gonna do something that's gonna be complicated or requires a lot of paperwork, a lot of his time. And being a public
Social
defender,
Security is funding the whole damn thing. Social Security is funding the whole thing.
yeah, well, social, federal, the social service. Well, maybe it is Social Security.
Well,
They
yeah,
borrow
when they
more
made the
money.
birth certificate, right? When they made the birth certificate, I mean,
Well, it's our money. That Social Security should be put aside. It should be collecting interest. But this is a different story, but it should be collecting interest. And so when you retire, you should have quite a retirement. Instead, you collect interest on your money. They use your money to not only do this, but to fight wars and do whatever. They use their money to run the government. Is what they do. They use
they're
your
all
money.
shareholders, and they're all getting a cut, and we're not. We're
Yeah.
not.
No, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. But anyway, we got your final hearing come up with your first granddaughter. Now your second granddaughter. What's the story about her? Where's she at in the in
The
the?
second granddaughter, the baby that I haven't met, she's the one that they're having a hearing pretty soon for her in
What
February.
what is the allegations there against your daughter?
The whole thing was just that, well, she had warrants and this and that, and she did her time and she got out, and then now she probably didn't go to her probation hearing or something. She's out another
Who
warrant.
was
I
who
don't
was
know
taking
what's going on with her.
who was taking care of the second child when she was going through all this?
They have the second child too, so they have like their little happy family now that
Yeah.
I think they're just gonna adopt
Are
them or
they
something.
are the two children together? Or are they separate?
Yeah, yeah, they are together.
So they are trying to keep the family unit together, which is good on their part. But they're trying to adopt that child too,
Right, right. They're
and
trying to adopt that.
they want to map it out so it takes years. So they want to have this money go for a long time, and so
Well, this is the thing. Like my daughter, like, every time I talk to her about it, she doesn't want to talk about the whole thing. So I'm like, "Oh, are you serious? You don't want to talk about it?" So anyway,
well,
I'm just, I don't. I'm not even tripping on my daughter anymore. I'm like, I'm not even kidding. I don't know what's up with her, but I want the babies. I want them.
Well, yeah, you're from the old school like I am. We love our children, and no matter what they've done or what they're wrong, we'd like to help them out. You'd like to help out your daughter and your two
Yeah.
grandbabies, and you'd like to see them grow up and go to school and be a better person in society. You sound like a really good grandmother, and you've had some hiccups, and it should not. Uh, it's unfortunate how it happens, and a lot has to do with people that don't have money to hire an attorney. Attorneys are expensive. I know that from experience. They take a lot of your money, and there are good attorneys and bad attorneys, like there are with social workers. But the attorneys are not as bad as the social workers are because we got to do something. That's why we have this show because we're trying to fight
Right.
CPS and win and so forth there. So with this, so with your daughter, do you see your daughter at all? Do you see your daughter at all?
I mean, I talked to her on the phone, and I'm like, I ask her what's happening, what's happening. She just doesn't really want to tell me much. So,
How old is your daughter now?
she's like 30.
She's 30. Wow.
Yeah, she's 30.
Does she have a job?
No, she just stays out there in Ventura. I'm over here in LA.
So she's
The baby lived here in LA. I'm telling you, and they just took us all out of our jurisdiction. Just
wow, wow.
yeah, it was weird how it all happened. But like I said, last year I did everything I could to get the first one back, and we got her back at least into my sister's home for a while. But and then my daughter ends up giving up her rights at court
Oh, because she
before she went to jail.
voluntarily gave it up. Because
Yeah,
she had to
I
go to
said, don't give
court.
up your rights. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Well, you see, she
So,
doesn't know the price of life. I mean, somehow she's missed the boat there because that child, I hate to say it, will grow up and have problems later on, and the whole cycle will repeat itself again.
well, I
And
mean, I play a part in it too. I shouldn't have had a damn, I should have picked better men in my life, So
well, we all
these
look back.
girls are looking for love in all the wrong places now.
Yes, yes. Well, it's oh god, it's
It's a mess. Yeah.
relationships. Relationships are our hardest thing to deal with. Relationships. That's
Yeah.
one of the things is and hard times. I was going through, in my case, a loss of a job after working for 60 some years, and me and my wife were losing everything, and it was hard for me to get reemployed at 60. And your body's not the same as it was, and I'm 74 now, and it seems like they're still trying to. I mean, I got a job for a year and a half, but then they ran out of work. They said, and the answer really was that, well, you're too old. We don't want you. I mean, you do excellent work. You're physically fit. You look great. You have good people skills and so forth. But they couldn't find me work. They shipped me up to Northern California, and I was flying home every week, and they're paying for me to stay at a hotel, and it was a terrible. I mean, that's not how I see my family. I see my family on the weekends and fly home, but it's hard. So when you have an obstacle, like my case was losing a job, and then when you lose a job, you lose your income, and when you lose your income, you lose your home, and then you have problems with trying to raise your children, and they're upset because they're no longer Disneyland passes. I mean, I had to curtail a lot of things,
Right.
and I couldn't afford the soda pop, the chips, the cookies. So I said we have to go to a Spartan lifestyle and eat nothing but basics. And but then the food stamp program is not sufficient enough when you have four children, five children, or whatever it is. And you have a mother and a father. That's six people you gotta feed, and then you have older children that want to come around, and of course the older children don't want to help. And our case was we had family members that destroyed our family. They were jealous, and it's from my wife's side of the family, and she knows it, and she's devastated. She's ruined by it. She and her mom don't talk anymore. Her dad has died, but her sisters were the ones that made the allegations, and one of them was a social worker. And their intentions may have been good, but it really wasn't. It's like no one's ever come forward and says, you know what? We want to help you. We want to help the family. We want to help you by offering you a job or offering you some assistance or something like that. We want to help, but I never hear that from. I mean, they gave me bus passes, but it's miserable trying to ride a bus.
Right.
And of course,
And
it's
the
not.
worst thing you could do is call CPS. Don't people out there do not call CPS.
No,
It's
they're
just
not your friend,
they're
and they're not going to.
traffickers.
And yeah, they are. You talk about the sex slave trade. The
Yeah,
trade, the
they
slave
got their
trade,
hand in it.
and the CPS is a great example of the slave trade. They
Yeah.
earn money by keeping the children and dragging the cases on. I
That's
mean,
what this whole thing is about. That's what this whole darn thing is about. I figured it
yeah,
out. This whole thing is about, and it's always been about selling people.
yeah, it is. It is. It's like how can they get people? Because if they're in foster care, then foster care will get a money, and then state and the federal take a part off the top. By the way,
We're
the
all
person.
securities. We are all securities. We
So
are the collateral for the
yeah,
day.
I mean it's just and again, it's like why do you think 10,000 people a day want to come to the United States? They hear about you get free food, free medical, free schooling, and help with looking for jobs. You come from a oppressed country. I heard one person from Libya. He came via the boat, cost him $15,000 United States, but he's looking for a better life. And we should say that, well, in order to be a better life in the United States, you first have to become a citizen. Once you become a citizen, then you can reap all the benefits. But our current administration right now has an open door policy. The past administration didn't, and it was helping. But now we got all these issues with social problems and people, crazy people, and it's a big nightmare.
I think
It's
foreigners, they get treated a lot better than U.S. citizens. I mean,
oh, they do.
I can't even get IRS to release my tax returns. I mean, come on, and but they're giving all this money to Ukraine, so I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, and the IRS is happy because more people come here to work, the more money they get for their coffers. So uh, the IRS is not upset with people coming in, and again, the hospitals are not upset because they get more money. I mean, it's the
Oh, they're
stores.
keeping people sick out there. They're just keeping people sick out there. I mean,
Yeah,
what are they going to do without sick people? They're not going to be able to have money to
right,
pay, that's why. And then as
right.
soon as you learn you're sick and you start believing it, that's when you start getting sick. So don't believe it.
Okay,
They
so
got to
you got
keep you sick.
right. At this time, I want to give that number out again. It's 888-888-6582. Please call in, share your story. Also, our attorney, Vincent W. Davis, he has a great law firm. He's a professional lawyer. He has a family law background. He's also a trial attorney. He knows how to do trials, and he knows how to do appeals, and he will do civil cases and things like that. He has a big law firm with a lot of attorneys in different areas, and so please call in. It's a 30-minute consultation or up to an hour. And there's the calendar of events that's being broadcast at the bottom of the page you're seeing. So all you listeners, please call in, and I'd love to hear from you and so forth. Well, we're going to continue on with Ann here, and the wrap, not the wrap, but the sort of summary of what she's told us so far is that she's a single parent herself. She tried to raise her daughter. Her daughter went off in the deep end by seeing older guys. She got pregnant. Her daughter doesn't see the value of children, and she's had a lot of criminal problems, and so she's had to give up her child, and she gave him up. And I guess they're having a final detention, the final hearing on adoption or giving up her name and no more of the rights. There's also her daughter who's in her 30s. Did she have a second child when she was how
Yeah.
old?
Yeah. She's got a second child. I don't like,
How old was
well,
was she?
first, I mean, yeah, she's got her kids there. She's had them she's about 30 and her two kids are 2 and 1.
Okay, so she's had children. Okay, and so it sounds like she doesn't want the second child either. Then, right?
No, well, I mean, she does, but I mean, I'm the one that was taking care of the first baby. She lived here with me. She did, but
Yeah.
they lied and said she was abandoned, and with Priscilla, you
Right.
know, I mean, I'm
Right.
sorry, they said that she was abandoned, that my daughter abandoned her, but she didn't.
Right.
She was living here with me. They lied about the whole thing. The ex parte gives them
Yeah.
the right to just go and say anything they want, and then the courts believe them, I guess, or they give them the benefit of the doubt, and without even asking, like, hey, where'd she live, or come out and try to find out anything,
Right.
you know.
Right. 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 And then there was the second child. Uh, did that second child at all live with you?
Yeah, like right when she had her from the hospital, because they're already dealing with the first child, right? So,
They took her
um,
away out of the hospital.
yeah, they took the baby from the hospital for the
See,
second
the
one.
thing is, a lot of people don't know out there that if you're involved with CPS, you're instructed to not to have any children because if you do, they automatically take your child. It's really terrible
Yeah.
because uh, they tell you that if you're going to have children, you have to be finished with the CPS matter before you have other children, which
Or
is
you have to authenticate the birth certificates. I think you got to, I think there's something to do with that. You got
I
to
don't know.
authenticate the birth certificate so that they can't make money off of your social security number if you own it, or you become the
Yeah,
fiduciary over your account.
yeah, but I just know that CPS says when you first involve with them that you will not have any children because if you do, we will take them away from you, whether you have a birth
Yeah.
certificate or not. So
Well,
uh,
yeah, it's money. They're like,
they're
dollar signs in their eyeballs. They
just like
see, thinking,
that. And again, and social security numbers are given out too freely anyway. Anybody can get a social security number. I mean, it's like getting a driver's license. There's so many fake things out there that anybody can get anything they want. So, but anyway, so we have two children, and the second child. What's the second hearing about?
Well, the hearing that's coming up is about for the permanent plan
Well, that's for the
residencies,
first
to
child.
terminate the parental rights. Yeah.
But what about the second child? What's that one about?
The second, that is this, that is the other case hasn't come up yet. I guess I'm still
Oh, it
waiting for
has.
papers for that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it Is it an
Well,
investigation, or has she been assigned to foster care for that child?
they're just looking for ways to get both of them,
Where
basically.
is it? Where's the second child though? Who's the second child with?
They're both with the same foster mother.
Okay, so they've already assigned the foster care to both of them. Okay.
Yeah, the same foster mother that that did the ex parte because she wants the kids. She
Okay.
wants she wants
Now,
to be a mother. She can't
now,
have her own baby. She's been trying to. She did this to a few other people.
okay. Has she? I mean, do you still can see her with a monitor, or can you
No,
see?
because I was like, I'm not going to play their game because I live in LA. They're in Ventura. So
Oh,
if I get visitations, that means somebody has to pick up those kids and drive them all the way over here to LA just to see them for like an hour. A stranger. I'm not going to do
yeah,
that to the kids, and I'm not going to play their game. I'm not going to play their game. It's like because
yeah.
they're liars. They stole the babies. Basically, they stole them.
And this foster care parent. That's an interesting thing there because, yeah, foster parents. And is that foster parent married, or is she a single mom?
She's the one that's married to the husband that's a sex offender, because we got the whole they did the whole
Oh,
background things on
oh
them.
my God! I
And
mean,
he was,
she's married
yeah,
to a
for
sex
sex with the
offender.
minor. I'm like, okay, so you guys placed the babies with some guy who's had,
Does
who's,
CPS know
sex.
about that?
Yeah, they're the ones that did, yeah, yeah, they
And
did,
they don't have any qualms about putting them with a
they're like,
sex.
oh, she wasn't 18, and he had sex with her. Maybe I'm like, I don't know. Because I did my own investigation, and I found out the house that they were living in, there was more people that lived there than they said. They had been in default for their mortgage. I don't know for how many years. They owe money everywhere, so it's like I don't
Yep.
think DCFS even does a thorough investigation. They're just trying to get the money. There's just all these people, all these kids are wards. They're money to them. Money, money, money. That's all they see in their eyeballs, just money.
Yeah, it's the money. It's the money game. Some of you listeners out there don't realize that we don't want to believe that, but it's very corrupt, at least in Southern California. But I spoke to someone in Pueblo, New Mexico, similar problem. Iowa was a similar problem. In Iowa, the corn husking state, is a bunch of farmers, and nothing offense against people from Iowa, but they had the same problems that are going on in California. Um, the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota, they are terrible there. There's a thing that for some of your listeners, if you belong to an Indian tribe or register with the Indian tribe, the Indians take care of their own, but sometimes CPS will interfere and take an Indian child. They can't. And so, any of you that want to keep your children and want a way to work through the system, sometimes if you, there's an acronym I'm trying to think of, I think it's called WICA. No, it's not Wicca. It's something else there, but it's a law that says that anybody that is registered Indian, Native American Indian, the Indian tribe can take care of uh, of the child protection on that.
Indian
So
Act, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, they tried to stop that. They tried to stop that. They weren't able to. But
yeah, there's
you
a
know,
lot of
I would just say the mothers go and get a power of attorney ahead of time, just in case. So in case CPS does come, at least the baby will go wherever you want the baby to go, and not where they want the baby to go. So you have to like
yeah
authenticate the
yeah
birth certificate, lock that in, just lock it all in. So because they want the money, and if they can't get to the money, then they're not going to want the kid. So you got to
no
authenticate the birth certificate.
yeah
Be for the fiduciary over your account. Step up
yeah.
and handle your own account.
With your experience, you said you did a lot of investigation, with CPS. What did you find out yourself about CPS and how to fight it? You said you were
Well,
successful.
when it happened to me, I was just like, okay, I'll just do whatever, whatever it takes. I did the 18 month, what is it? What was it like? Outpatient,
Parenting class.
outpatient. I did inpatient. I did everything they wanted to do. I did until, and then I just got them
And
back, and then and that's what I
well,
say. Just, yeah, just, it's a no
that's the
brainer.
hard
Just
one.
do what you got to do and get them back. But it's still ridiculous. I
A
got
lot of
lucky because
people fight.
my kids went with my brother and his wife, and I know that, but they still played by the book. They didn't let me take the baby. They still played by the book, but still, it all worked out good. And
Okay.
this time with my daughter, like I said, I tried to step in, and I did the objections and everything, and I did get her back for a minute, and then yeah, so
Have you asked your daughter what she wants to do with her life?
I'm not even. You know what? I I've just decided I'm just gonna step forward by myself because I'm not gonna wait for her to figure out
Oh,
what she wants. Because I mean, I know what she's going through. It hurts because she got her babies. Her babies are gone. So she's probably out there doing even more. It's not right. She's not a bad mother. She never hurt her babies, and she never did what they said that she did. They said that she abandoned the baby, and I don't know what they said, but it was a lie. She didn't
yeah,
abandon her baby because the baby was here with me.
yeah. Has therapists or counseling helped out at all? Um, have you able
With
to?
with my daughter, she's not playing
Yeah,
their game either, I guess. And she's like I said, the kids visited her while she was in jail, but they brought the kids to her. Some stranger picked up the babies from their home, from the foster care, and drove them to the jail to see her for an hour or whatever.
they're,
And I
they're
guess they did
probably
that
trying to
twice.
impress upon her children that she's a no good mother. That's why she's in jail. The reason why they do that, and I'm really against that, is that if you're in jail, you shouldn't see your children. That's a wrong environment. It gets
Well, she
all
didn't want
thrown.
to see them, but I said you have to because if you don't see them, then they're gonna say, "Oh, she didn't see them."
Well, they're doing it as a ploy to help
Oh,
that young child who's precocious to get a bad image of the
I
parent.
don't like it because they send a stranger to pick up the babies and take them to the destination,
Yeah.
to the jail,
You don't know if
and
the
it's like,
stranger blesses them or not. So
yeah, I don't know what the heck they're doing with the babies. Just it's weird. It's just really weird. The whole thing, the whole CPS thing is just weird.
have you dealt with the CPS in Ventura? Are they the same as the ones in LA? Or are they different?
Um, you know, LA, my thing was like back in 2008 or something. But all I know is like I don't have any arrests. I had a DUI back in 2008. That's it. I don't have anything on my record. Nothing. Nothing.
Okay,
I
okay.
didn't drive in tickets. Nothing. And And for them to go put the babies with them, with the foster parent who has a sex offender as a husband, as opposed to me, the grandmother family, I just
Yeah.
thought something's wrong with the system. Something is really seriously wrong with our system.
Yeah. And then have you
And it's
tried to
money,
talk?
it's the almighty dollar, because the kids are wards. Wards is a security
Did
that
you
they trade on that goes through the treasury to get securitized.
try to
In
talk
gang
to?
rape. The signature gets gang raped. Sorry?
Yeah. Did you try to talk to a supervisor or somebody else, another social worker, to see if that might help?
Oh, I wrote letters. I did all kinds of stuff, and they know they did wrong, but they're not trying. I mean, I don't talk to them anymore. No, I mean, the new case is coming
So,
up.
what is your game plan right now then? What is your game plan, you think?
I'm not sure what to do, so that's why I called you guys. And then last night they said, "You want to be on the show?" And I was like, "Okay,
Well, I'm trying to help. I mean, I'm trying to
yeah." Well,
envision,
hopefully you guys can help me get some kind of game plan going. And
yeah, the strategies. Vincent Davis
yeah,
is one that you have to
yeah.
ask the strategies there. I'm not an attorney. I'm just somebody with a 7 years of dealing with
Oh,
CPS
yeah.
and
Well,
first-hand
with or
experience.
without Vince, I'm going to do an objection, and I'm going to show up to the. I'm just going to block it whatever I can to stop
Yeah,
this.
but you're going to have to get. I hate to say it. You need to get some attorney, even a public defender, that may or may not do any good. But you need to meet with them and have an attorney represent you in court because you'll
I'm
be
I'm going to be prepared to do that as well. Yeah.
okay. Because that's one strategy you can work on is have a defender, a lawyer, to go through the court. They know the court system. And by the way, do you have records of all the documentations and so forth?
Yeah, I've got it all. Yeah. They
Yeah.
added me as a party to the case. So I think just because I've been
Well,
there.
the reason why I mention that, a lot of people don't realize that everything that is discussed about that child and all the paperwork is all in the clerk's office in that courtroom, and you can get copies. It's you're eligible for copies, and if you don't have the money, you can get low. You can get it waived, and they'll make copies for you. Mine was 12 inches thick, but I highlighted page by page in yellow, and then in orange I highlighted in
Discovery, you
orange
mean? Hmm.
to say, well, this is what I need to enter into court. So there may be something that you can look at those archives, documents that they screwed up or didn't follow through, something you could use. It's a way to pass the time. It's a way to see your case, what they have against you. A lot of times it's all hearsay or talk, but when you see it in writing, it says, "Oh, okay." And if you deal with the facts, that's what attorneys are good at. Is that you need to deal with the facts. Everything you say in court is hearsay. I mean, anything you talk to somebody is hearsay. What's in
Oh, there's
writing?
plenty of errors on their behalf. I'm sure there are plenty of errors. We just got to
Well, you
find them.
need to show them the errors, and so
Right.
um,
I'd
that's
like to
one.
sue them. I'd like to sue the heck out of CPS.
Well, you can sue them. You can do what's called a civil lawsuit, but it's a really hard thing to do. And again, you need an attorney to sue them. And there are some attorneys who do a pro bono, meaning that they will fight for
How
your
about the
case. If they win,
Sorry? How about the
it,
FOIA? The information that you can pull from them. Should I be doing that right now? Like,
well, I would get as much. If you have the documentation, then that's fine. But if you don't, I'd go to the courthouse and see the clerk of the courthouse and say you want to go to the record division and you would like the records of your case from
yeah.
day one. And
Well,
when you get
the
the
Freedom of Information Act gives allows us to like pull all of their information, right? From
well, I guess it is. It's called it, but I just know in my case, I would get copies of everything, but I found out there's a lot of things you don't see. And to me, I put in a chronological date so I work from the oldest to the newest, and then
yeah.
I highlight it. And when you highlight it, it's easy to see yellow and orange, or green, or pink, or blue, or whatever colors you want to use. And you can highlight it, and each color means something. So
Hmm.
the thing I used orange was is that for things that I could use in court, and yellow was that things that I wanted to speak about. So it's extra. um, added. It's like a book. A book says a lot. When you read a book, there's a lot there. It's in writing, and so it really helps your case. It really helps your case to have that documentation. And since you said you're doing a lot yourself, it would
Yeah, I've
help
also
you.
got a lot of things else going on in my life, but yeah, I'm gonna do everything I can to
I know we all have another life besides fighting
yeah,
CPS. With
yeah.
my kids, I'm trying to get a job. I'm trying to get my son through private school, and I'm trying to get my other son who had a collapse because of the COVID. Is the only way that I could figure it out. Not getting
Private school
COVID,
is better. Private school is
but
better. I went to private school, and I swear, I thank my teachers every day for my handwriting and
no,
my
I know.
words.
My young son's 18 right now, and I'm trying to watch him because he, just finished 4 years of varsity football, and his team became the number one team in the country in high
All
school.
right.
And so he had a
Wow.
valuable experience, but it's over. So
Yeah.
now he's taking a class next spring because he's a senior, and his class is in film and media. And so he was smart to do that. He says, I'm looking for a job to help you, Dad. I've never had a child in my family, and we have a family of 8, and I never had in my family of 8, including my wife and my son, had any one child that wanted to help me. And I was really amazed at that. He said, Dad, you don't have money for gas. I'll help you. I'll get a job at Dairy Queen. He's out there riding his bicycle, not afraid to talk to people, getting a job. He had one job. Chipotle said they give him 5 hours a week. He said, no, I need more than 5 hours a week. I said, well, you can't get too many. You're taking STEM classes. You take an engineering class, you take a math class, you take a science class, you take a technology, and you say that you want to be an aerospace engineer. And now he says, well, I think I may want to get into theaters. So he's changed himself from being a fighter pilot, aerospace engineer, to now becoming
That's okay.
involved in theaters. And I'm for that. I'm not against that. I thought maybe he could pursue football. I was all geared to have him go to the Naval Academy. I wanted him to go there because the Naval Academy, they pay for you to go to school, by the way. People don't realize that. They pay a monthly stipend every month, and they take care of all your expenses. So for 4 years, and the summers included, you don't have to worry about food, clothing, shelter, books, or education. And if you play
Right.
on their football team, it's a great school to play football. I mean, if you play
And you get
football,
the GI loan,
and then
right?
after that, you're guaranteed a job. It's the only school where they say when you graduate, you will give you 5 years. You have to give us 5 years, but in actuality, they said we got 5 years and you'll be employed. And he said, well, I said you can go to flight school, become a fighter pilot. I said, what's wrong with 5 years? Okay, so you spent 9 years of your life, your adult life. That's not a waste. And just think, after you leave the Navy, and with that college degree, and if you're a fighter pilot, you're going to be in great demand to work on the airlines. I mean, I just said that. He said, well, I don't want to, I want to fly cargo. I said, well, shoot, they'd love to have you. So, but now he's thinking going locally, which is good. I'm all for that. It just said he still wants to go to college, where my other son in senior year bailed out. That was a hard thing to swallow. That was a hard thing to
Mm.
swallow. When someone works so hard like he did, he went to private school, 4 years of STEM classes, and wanted to be a robotic engineer, then a computer engineer, and then he wanted to be AI, artificial intelligence engineer. Now he dropped out because he said, "Why am I going to school for last year?" So whether he goes back and finish it, I don't know. But he's at home, and I was wrong by doing that, but. I love your children. You do anything for your children.
Yeah,
It's
you
like
can't blame yourself. Yeah, you just make. You know what? You just all we could do is just point our children in the right direction and hope they go that way. But we ultimately don't have control over their destination.
no,
What they're really going to do.
you can certainly encourage. You can look after them and ask them, where you're going. If you're going to go overnight, please let me know if you're not coming home at night. And those are simple ground rules I'd like to know. If you're not going to come home at
Yeah,
night, please tell me, so I don't sit there worry all night.
yeah,
Because it's and it says, well, daytime things happen. I said, yeah, but nighttime is usually when the bad things really happen because it's dark out there. I don't care
yeah.
what you say, how many lights are. It's dark at night.
Yeah.
and there's more chances of things going really really bad there. Um, Now, with your, did you have any positive? Well, in your case, you had a positive story in the beginning. Your case was you got your child, your granddaughter, to stay, and that was a positive thing, and that worked for you in CPS. Was that that was in the Southern California, right? That you got your
Yeah.
child back to. So
Oh no,
that part
I think
worked.
yeah, that was a long time ago. I had a case with CPS, DCFS they call it in Los Angeles, but I had that was like in
Right. Yeah.
2008. And two kids got them back, yeah, and that's over. And then, like I said, fast forward to 14 years later, and we didn't have we had it was a couple of days before we got paid again, so we didn't have a lot of food in our fridge, but we had plenty of stuff to make in there. It's just that I guess maybe I was spoiling the kids and we were going out to eat, or I'm cooking all the time. Well, I just chose not to cook one day. I'm like, there's plenty of stuff they can make in there. Let them go make a sandwich. And they told their teachers we didn't have food at home. And DCFS came here and looked in the fridge and said, "What the hell are you talking about? There's all kinds of food here." But
Well,
they did
well,
know that I had a case. And then so, yeah, so they're just trying to use that as, well, she had a DCFS case. She had like a little,
yeah.
but they don't really got nothing on me. I mean, I have no one's has a dirty test for me for the last since 2008. So. But I'm
Wow.
just not going to play their game. I'm not playing with with CPS and Ventura. I'm just not going to play their game because they're liars.
Yeah.
They're,
Yeah.
the whole thing's a lie.
Yeah. Well, it's uh, it's the same up in Sacramento. I'm afraid to say I've heard it in San Francisco, um, and it gets it's really hard because there's got to be something that they should prevent that from happening. They should be saying that you should try all exhaustive means first of family reunification, foster care, and thing. It should be a last resort.
Oh,
To
every child is a summer home for these people.
yeah, yeah, and the foster care system isn't. I mean, my son was abused in foster care. You talk about child protection agency protecting children. They don't protect them in foster care. My son was hit in the back of his head for taking communion. He always wants to take it from the priest. So he was told a layperson would go okay, and his monitor, you know, reported it, and the foster care parents punished him. He was at a care home, and they punished him for drinking too much orange juice.
Oh,
His
wow. Yeah.
and I had a bad experience with Boys Town. They decided to get involved with L.A. and or Orange County and decided to operate a home, a group home for the kids that had to have a temporary housing, and they were terrible. They only lasted that one process, but they had people come and man in the home. They're from the Midwest, and they're used to people that don't have parents that care. There are so many kids out there that don't have moms and dads. That's why you have the YMCA, the WYMCA, the women's one, and the men one, and then you have the boys club and you have all these things here because a lot of those advocate that kids have no fathers, no mothers, and stuff there. So, I was really
There's
disappointed.
some kids. Look at all these kids that are coming from the border, the immigrants. They think they're coming over here to have a better life, but little do they know they're coming over here to get trafficked. That's what they're doing,
Oh,
these kids. Because
they just
when
they don't.
I noticed, I go online all the time just to find out about my daughter's case. I see all these other cases and of these little children, like that these other people are trying to adopt. And I'm like, where are they getting these kids? They're getting them from the border.
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
think they're all in on it. I don't care what they say, they're all in on it. And just some crazy,
Right.
dirty stuff going on right now. Very dirty stuff
Well,
going on.
that's a whole nother subject, and if you wanted to call back and talk about
Yeah,
other things too, we can here. But I got to wrap up the show. We have about 1 minute
yeah,
left,
no problem.
and I
Okay, so
want to
can you
go ahead.
please just have Vince call me? And maybe, I'd like to
Well,
set up
no,
something with him.
it's up to you to call him.
Oh,
He does
well,
not
I have
call
called
me.
him. I'm just waiting for him to call me back, but I'll call him again.
Well, you may have to be persistent. Also, you need to check the calendar because you need to find a time that he'd be available. and then schedule that with the people in the office. They have professional people that do answer the phone, and they will schedule you a time for all you listeners out there. Again, this is the I'm Bob Pace, your host, and How to Fight CPS and Win. We had a guest host here, Ann Gonzalez, who had two cases with CPS and involving two children and a daughter that's going to run amok, and she's trying to have keep in touch with her grandchildren, which I think is admirable. And she sounds like a good woman with a big heart, loves to cook, and I appreciate having you on the show. For all you out there, please call in to 648 65 82, and that's the Vincent W. Davis. He's the attorney, professional. He's a law attorney. He's a family law attorney, and he has a trial. He's a trial attorney too, and he knows his system well. He offer consultation for 30 minutes up to an hour, and you can call in to schedule that time, and also schedule a time you like to talk. But I look forward to talking to you again, Ann, and again,
Likewise.
again to all your listeners. I want to thank you all and have a great new year and much success, and uh, and a happy new year for you. And
Happy New Year. Yeah.
and keep fighting CPS. Uh, that's what it is. And don't forget to vote judges into the family courts. All right. With that said, I'm going to end our show and thank you.
Bye.
Bye.